Hey, what's going on? I'm Rah, your self-accountability coach. I also have the Gift to Channel, and today I am going to dive more into a series that I have on TikTok. And this particular one is more about the relationships that you have with your parents. I'm also going to add it as a short on my YouTube. And if you want to check out my TikTok, I'm going to link the link for this particular video down below, so you can definitely go ahead and check it out. Titled this particular video Just Like Your Mama, because there's so many things that we have tied to our shadow, tied to our inner child when it comes to our mother, and that's men or women. The relationship that you have with your mother can be a situation where it can make it very challenging on this journey, because there's some things that you have to face and you have to admit. When I originally made this series, I was thinking about how siblings bicker back and forth. And one of the insults that I would hear growing up is, you act just like your mama, you look just like your mama or your daddy, or something like that. That was to be intended as an insult. Now, we will be honest on this platform, because honesty and being self-aware is one of my biggest beliefs. Okay, everybody does not have the natural instinct to be a mother. Some people think they're great parents, great mothers, great fathers, and all they do is just the bare minimum of what parenting is. They don't bother to get to know their children. They don't bother to listen to their children. They don't bother to actually spend quality time with their children. And I have to say that with emphasis. Just because you're in the same area as your child, just because you're in the same room as your child, does not mean that you are spending quality time with that child. It does not mean that that child feels love just because your body is in the room and your mind is somewhere else. To actually look into that child's eyes and to be acknowledgeable of that child, a lot of people dismiss that, and then they wonder why the world is ran by a whole bunch of chaotic people, because at the end of the day, those children have minds, they have feelings, they have emotions, they grow up with the things that we embed them with, and then they're all over the place. So with this particular video, what I wanted to point out was the resentment that people have that may be lingering, that they may not even be aware of when it comes to their mother. And healing mother wounds is very important on this healing, spiritual, self-awareness journey. Now, like I said before, I do want to give a small disclaimer. I hear it a lot when I hear people talk about therapy. The therapist usually blames your parents and blah this and blah that. There is some truth in there. Where I really want to see change, where I've seen change for myself in my own situations and healing, is to eliminate the blame game. We have to, like I said, we have to be extremely honest with ourselves, how we show up, how we react, what we hold on to, so on and so forth. Yeah, your parents may not have been the best parents in the world. At the same time, they did what they could. And at some point, you have to let go of the burden of what you experienced, so that you can really clear the table in front of you and start to lay out the things that you have to work on, because nobody is going to come and put your pieces together. It's you. And I know that may sound a little harsh. Like I said, this channel is for those that want to help themselves and they're real. We don't blame game over here. Like I said before, our parents did what they could with the knowledge that they had. And even if they know what they're doing may not be right, they may not be able to find the bridge to deeply embody how to do something the correct way for their particular child. And I feel like the best wisdom is the wisdom of actually experiencing it yourself and having those epiphanies. And I ended up having an epiphany about my own mother. And I found it challenging at a certain point in my journey to lay blame on her. But there was a certain part in my journey where I realized that she did the best that she could with whatever she was working with. I started to put it together that if I had an issue controlling my anger as an adult and showing up a certain way as an adult, how could I possibly put that same weight on her? How could I possibly blame her when I myself need grace also? Like, how could I expect her to be any better when I'm not even the best version of me? And I know that now as a mother myself. Do you see what I'm saying? And I don't know if we ever get to that point. You know, everybody's journey is different. At the same time, even when you die, you still have things unresolved. If you believe in reincarnation, you go from one life to the next to live out more karmic debt or karma, or learn more things about yourself. So really, is the healing ever done? I guess what I'm looking for in life is when it's time for me to be laid down to rest and I'm about to take my last breath, if I have that grace to even have that reflection of my life, can I excel and literally rest in peace? And right now where I am with what I've learned, I feel like I'm on that path to getting there. I've learned that the more I figure myself out and I put the pieces together for myself, the more I can start to understand where she's coming from and see a clearer picture of her as a person, and releasing the expectations of you're supposed to protect me, you're supposed to love me and make me feel loved and safe, and like releasing all of that and really just looking at her as a person as I healed to a certain point. And I realized the reason why I had boundary issues or whatever, so on and so forth, is because that's something that she has. And you learn a lot from the people that take care of you. At the end of the day, it doesn't even really have to be a mother. It could be any guardian. It's just something about the mother bond to the child and how things get passed down subconsciously, unknowingly to the child. And one thing about getting hurt is it will trigger your ego. Your ego is there to make sure that you just stay alive. I can't stress that enough. So when people say ego death, and I believe I said this in another video at another time, or maybe in another live that I do on TikTok, but when people say ego death, I don't want to kill off my ego. I want my ego to do what it's supposed to do, and that is to keep me alive. I don't want it to go into overpowering survival mode just because my feelings are hurt, or just because I got a cut or a scrape or a bruise. Yes, that pain is there to alert me, but it's not for my ego to go in full-fledged protection mode. And once you realize that and calibrate your ego for what it's naturally supposed to do, you're able to see things clearer. It is very challenging to look at yourself with the same critical glasses that you look at everyone else. If you have 3 things to say about another person, you better have 12 things to say about you. Because I promise you, no matter which way you twist or turn it, I don't care if you think that you're the hero and they're the villain, whatever fantasy you have in your mind, when you look at how you show up, you did something that was a cause and effect to something else. Because at the end of the day, energy is energy, and vibration is going to match vibration. Whatever you are, that's what you're drawing to you at the end of the day. One thing I've noticed, being able to see myself with clear glasses, I've always been extremely hard and judgmental of myself before anyone else. That's just the way my mind has been wired forever. So when I finally do open my mouth and speak on what people are doing that I'm noticing, because they're not in my mind and they don't know what I'm thinking about me, they feel like, you know, I don't go through that process, because at the end of the day, people perceive what they believe. So however they see the world, for some freaking reason, people think everybody else thinks and sees the world the way they see it. And that's where a lot of disconnect comes in. But nonetheless, when I was able to see myself, I remember it ended up being kind of scary. And I was like, what in the world? Because the things that irked me about my mother showed up in my life a certain type of, it would be a different type of way, or I would behave a different type of way, but it would be the same energy. And that's why I'm saying you have to get to know you. You have to let go of the blame, because it's not tit for tat. That's not the way the world works. The world works in energy, vibration, the underbelly of things. So I would see like, oh my gosh, she irks me when she does this. She irks me when she does that. And recently I took my significant other to meet her. It was great. They hit it off. We all had a really good time. He really enjoys her presence. There's still some things that like irk me. I finally had another epiphany, and I was like, wow, that behavior irks me because it's the lack of boundaries. And then I was able to relax, because then I understood what was going on. I tend to not be defensive or combative when I have understanding. When I don't have understanding, oh my goodness, look out for me. I was able to put 2 and 2 together and realize, oh, this is why that moved me in that direction, because it reminded me of times when I didn't have boundaries. And there's also a reflection of her there too, because you also want the people that represent you or that you represent to show up in their best, right? But I don't have control over that person. That person is not me and I am not them. So I can't have that behavior that some mothers have, where I'm sure some of us have heard before, your representation of me. You represent me. And when you grow up, we know that a lot of people judge you off of your parents. So if your parents are acting a mess, they're gonna think you acting a mess too. If you acting a mess, they're gonna think your parents didn't raise you right. So, you know, it goes back and forth, and those are the things that I noticed, and I was like, okay, now I can start seeing every little thing, and I'm starting to be able to come to the realization of the bottom, the root of why things irk me, and now I can remove it because now I have understanding. And to piggyback on people representing us and stuff like that, that is setting expectations for someone else. And the things we have to realize with expectations, there's a lot of issues when we have expectations for people and they do not execute those expectations. We need to realize that setting expectations for other people is almost like setting goals for someone else, and you don't get to do that. Matter of fact, with a lot of resentment that I've noticed that people have with their parents is the fact that their parents did not allow them to explore and figure things out on their own with the parents' safety. Parents have this saying, especially in the world that we live in, you got to go to work, you got to clean the house, you got to go to these events, you have to do all of these things, and your life is rush, 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 rush. You literally just rush through your life, and you don't ever get to really explore and experience life. You just tell kids, this is what you do because I said so. This is what you do because it's the best for you. But your child still has to figure itself out. And it's so funny that people don't like to do the work, but need the purpose of going down the mission of doing the work, the inner work, getting to know self. And when you are constantly taking that experience away from someone, there becomes resentment. Telling someone what to do all the time and not ever allowing them to figure themselves out. That's why there's so many adults now that do not know who they want to be, what they want to do, and they feel like everything is too late because somebody else told you what you were going to do and who you were going to be. And let's just be honest, we don't know if that was God's plan or not. There are some lessons that children have to learn where they have to fall, and you just have to be their safety net. You don't let them fall on the ground and severely hurt themselves. They have to explore life and do dangerous things in a safe way at the end of the day. People are so scared to venture out and create and express. That feels like danger to some people, and that's because they were coddled. When you coddle people, that's what happened. When you don't let them express themselves, that's what happens. Nonetheless, try to heal the pain and the burden and the baggage that you have when it comes to your mother, because the thing is, we try to help others by showing them the ways that we're able to escape and get out of certain scenarios. Trying to make someone see themselves, trying to make someone heal, and they're not ready to heal is exhausting. And all of that energy that you're doing and putting into them, trying to force them to see the way they forced you to be, they're gonna grow resentment. It's a two-way street. You can flip the coin both ways, still get the same result. But I think what people don't realize is you wanna be the influence for people. And that is why it is so important for you to live out your light. Live out your healing. Allow it to showcase who you are. Shine bright. Spread your wings. Be colorful, because you're doing it for you. You found healing. You found love. You found grace within you. And that is going to inspire some type of shift in someone else. Whether it shows up as jealousy, whether it shows up as admiration, it doesn't matter what it shows up as, you are triggering something in that person because they're watching what you're doing. Be the change that you want to see. And it's so corny. At the same time, it's true. Be the change that you want to see. It's just like with parenting. Do as I say, not as I do. How many times have some of us heard that? I used to be like, that is baloney. So you want to go through your process naturally. You want to experience life and enjoy life naturally. Even when you fall, Enjoy those falls. Enjoy those periods where it's time to rest. Enjoy those periods when you're up. Enjoy every moment, because you cannot get that moment back. I don't care how many times you record it, how many times you TikTok it, how many times you take pictures of it. You cannot relive that moment, because everything is moving forward. So thank you for staying into this point. If you haven't already, check out my TikTok. I'm gonna put it somewhere up here so that you guys can always stay abreast on the videos that I post, and know that I will dive in deeper on YouTube. If you're interested, check me out on Instagram. I do stories, I do polls, I answer some of you all's questions on Instagram. Definitely check me out. And if you miss my content on TikTok when it's being posted, I will definitely post it on Instagram so you won't miss it either way it goes. For my patrons, I'm definitely gonna post the same video, and at the end of this video, I'm gonna post some ways that you can actually help yourself heal those mother trauma wounds. So thank you so much, you all. I really appreciate you for sticking around. Make sure you stay blessed. Peace, love, and a little bit of spice. Mwah. I will see you later.